Hello everyone and welcome. So today we've got this pretty nice CBR400RR on the table, which we need to get going again. And if you ignore the fact that it looks like it's been used as a garden ornament for 20 years, it's a pretty nice bike. I like the cute little stoplights and the headlights and a few little features. It's just a nice little put together bike. And even the seat looks cheap, but with that CBR logo on it, I like it. It's a pretty cute thing. I'm sure the owner wouldn't be very happy if he heard me say that, but yeah, it's cute. And I don't mean cute in any sort of belittling way. I really think it's a nice bike. So what's the story with this bike? Everyone likes a story. Sam, who's a young apprentice, has bought this bike, hoping to fix it up and ride it. And he struggled a little bit. He got the carbs cleaned with a bit of help. He put it back together, but the bike is not quite running right. So this bike has been worked on already. I've got some bits in a box over there, so it's not all back together. And let's try and help out Sam. He might come and join us later, but for now let's try and make a start and see what we find. So I've already taken the seat off to put a battery charger on. I'm going to take the tank off and carry on from there. Alright, so what do we have here? Well, quite a few things. To start off, we've got coolant and it looks pretty good. So that's a positive. Apart from that, we have the carbs in, which should be cleaned. Would have liked to see these plug with a bit of tissue before you put the fuel tank on, but they're okay. They should be fine. We've got a clutch. I noticed the choke isn't working, isn't returning, isn't even opening the choke. So something's wrong with this whole mechanism. So that needs looking at. That might be part of the issue. We've got the fuel pump with a fuel filter. Or at least I think that should be a filter. That's all disconnected, unplugged and disconnected, so at least it didn't start pumping fuel everywhere when I tried to start it initially. When I took the fuel tank off, the petcock isn't sealing, so I made a bit of a mess with that. Got the idle adjustment just dangling in there. That needs to go back in its place. This bracket with connectors probably goes back on when you install the airbox. Throttle cables, yeah, Sam did have a bit of trouble with that, so we need to attach these somehow, but I sort of expect these carbs to have to come off because of the choke, so I'm not going to bother with that too much at the moment. The next thing is, I'm not even sure, should I try and fix the choke first or try and get it running first, because then I might have another fuel leak. Tough decisions in life. Okay, so I've got an external fuel tank mounted up there, which is connected to the bike. It's quite a bit higher than the carb, so I shouldn't need that pump anymore. And let's see if we can get some life out of it. Let's see what actually happens when you crank it. Well, the level in the fuel tank has dropped, and I can't see any leaks, so that's a good sign. Let's see what she says. Nothing yet. I'll put the choke on. One thing I'll mention though, this either has a very good starter and battery, or it's a little bit low on compression. It's cranking very fast. Let's see if we've got a fuel issue, or is it something else? I reckon we don't have any spark. Let's pull one out and see what happens. So I pulled one of the HT leads off and inserted a spark plug from my collection. So this is an old spark plug, not out of this bike. And let's see what happens. It almost looks like it's trying to fire now, but I hope you could see clearly. This does have spark, so that's not our issue. It must still be fuel then. So let's have a closer look at that. Right, so I'm back working on this bike. I had to do a few other bits, so I kind of forgot where I left off, but we're back on it now. I'm going to take these carbs off just to give them a check over, check the float bolts, make sure everything's okay. But I'm still suspecting a low compression issue, so I'm also going to check that. These aren't even tight. That's not helping, Sam. The clamp wasn't tight, that probably doesn't help. You probably can't see it from here, but right in there, there is some damage to it, and they are very hard. They're not perished, they're not cracked yet, but they are quite hard. For reference, this is one of my Tiger, and the rubber is nice and soft. This one, it's really hard and brittle. So you could do with some new ones. It might be part of our problem, but we'll see. I still want to do a compression check on at least one of the cylinders. It's a bit dusty, so I'll blow all the debris off into my nice clean workshop. And the other problem I mentioned is that I believe it's got low compression. So this might be another story of buy cheap, buy twice. My old compression tester doesn't have the right adapter for that thread. They're tiny little spark plugs. They're only M10. And speaking about the spark plugs, they're a little black, so it looks like it's been running rich, but we won't consider that now because it's had some work done. So I bought this pretty cheap set online, which initially I was quite impressed. It's got shader valves everywhere, right at the tip, not just in the tool, so that means you can probably accurately measure compression on even small engines like chainsaws and strimmers and whatever. Not that I'm doing much of that. But initially I was quite impressed with the quality, and everything's laid out, everything feels pretty good. I was disappointed though with this. This is meant to be a sleeve that locks them together. This is not a review, by the way, I don't know, not paid or anything. So yeah, this doesn't actually work. You can engage the sleeve, it's on both of them now, but it's still spinning. Very disappointed in that. I think it's just a pretty poor design. But overall it seems okay. I might regret buying this instead of something a bit better quality, but there you go. Let's give it a try. Let's see what the compression actually is. Alright, so I had a first attempt to read the compression and it looked good initially. I had a second go worse, and the third try it just wasn't working at all. And what I found is the shader valve wasn't actually tight in there, it was just sitting in. So I guess we're getting to the buy cheap, buy twice section. So I'm just going to shove this back in with the hose and try to read again. The other problem is what I've just mentioned, this doesn't work. So of course this got stuck in the head, and I guess it's not the end of the world, but it was a bit of a pain to get it out, which kind of sucks. So the tool is leaking again, but it did make it to 150. And this is actually cylinder number 2 and the second try, so first time it actually made it to 175. So it kind of shows us compression is actually good. Tool is crap. And there we go, the hose is out, but the adapter is stuck in the head of course, which is a bit irritating. Luckily I tried cylinder number 2 this time, which is a bit easier to access. Number 1 and 4 are not as easy. So I just spent a couple of minutes fishing this out of the head, and as you can see, O-ring is gone. It's stuck down there. Very frustrating, I have to fish that out as well now. And there we go, the little O-ring's out, but it was not easy. So yeah, I'm not happy with this tool at all. Okay, first look at cylinder number 3. There we go. Took a while, but it made it all the way to 175, same as the previous two, on the first try. So yeah, that shader valve is causing some issues, but overall it's fine. Let's see if I can fish that adapter out without too much hassle this time and try number 4 as well. And there we are. Of course I had to fish this out separately, but the O-ring nearly came off again. And there we go, shader valve's leaking again, but it made it all the way to 175. So yeah, I was wrong. This bike actually has pretty good compression. Pretty pleased with that. The tool is crap, I'll probably send it back. Quite annoyed now. But yeah, time to fix the carbs and put it back on. Yep, have to fish it out again. And of course it came out without the O-ring again. You know, the rest of the set might not be too bad, but these things are absolutely lethal. Pretty disappointed. Now, as I mentioned before, the spark plugs are a bit black. They're not too sooty, but they are a bit black, so let's see if they work. Could probably do with new ones, to be fair. don't think you can pick that up on the camera, but it's sparking between the center electrode and the sides, not the center. So let's give them a quick clean. It could deal with nuance, to be fair, but I'm just going to clean it up for now. My preferred way is using heat and a brass wire brush. As you can see, that's a lot cleaner, but as I said, new spark plugs would be preferred. Still no good? Let's see if I can adjust the gap. So the gap is actually pretty good, but I'm just going to close it up a little bit and see if I can get it to work. Again, I don't think you can see that. It is sparking in the right place now, but it is pretty faint, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's just spark plugs or it could be HT leads or coils or anything else, but the spark is a bit weak. So yeah, I'm just going to clean them all, do the same thing for all of them, and put them in, see if we can get it to fire up and figure out the weak spark later. Okay, I've got the carbs in the bench. I've already took them apart, and a few things I've noticed that are interesting. Might need to adjust the float height slightly on some of them, but they're not far off. I can't remember if I adjusted this before I gave them back. I don't think I did, but they're pretty close. I think that's okay. One thing you might be able to see straight away is this is one pilot jet screw, one pilot adjustment screw, and these two are slightly different. They're all out about 5 turns. This was somewhere around them. The other one, who knows where it is. So these have not been set. That could have an effect. And the last thing that's worth mentioning, of course, these weren't really tight on the pretty hard rubber connectors, so that's also a problem. They probably had some vacuum leaks. And these bolts, some of them are just wiggling. If I get an Allen key to loosen these now, one of the bolts is holding it tight, but the other 3, I think they're missing the washers. You can see that one right there. Can you see that one? No, you can't. If you look at that one right there, you can even see there's a gap between the head of the bolt and the cover, so they have not been tight. That probably doesn't prevent it from starting, but it is an issue. So yeah, that's where we're at the carbs. I think I just need to set them up properly and put them back on the bike. Probably hard to see on camera, but if you look down there, you can see the gaps right under the butterfly valves are all a little bit different. So these will definitely need some balancing as well before we give it back. Alright, so I've got the carbs back in the bike, just loosely fitted. Choke cable is not connected, throttle's down there, but I just wanted to see if I can get some signs of life out of this bike. So it's all connected to the remote tank up there, and it doesn't fire up. Just for a quick demonstration, set the run, does have spark. And of course it runs now. It doesn't really run. I just poured some petrol in the intakes just to see if the engine itself runs, and it does run, as you just heard, but on the carbs alone it doesn't actually start. So as you see, the engine can run, it does have spark and everything, but it sounds like it's not getting any fuel, or not enough. I've checked the little taps on the bottom of the float bowls, and they all leak a bit of fuel, except this one. This carb seems to be completely dry. So I'll take the carbs back out and have a closer look at the pilot circuit. So as you've seen, all the flows seem to work, but this one is a bit stiff. It doesn't really do much unless you really pull it out, which explains why this is empty. There's no fuel in it. And I'm also going to pull out all the pilot jets and have a closer look. Alright, so I fixed this, gave it a good clean. It all seems to be working better now. Checked all the pilot jets, and they're not exactly clogged, but I just gave one another clean. And all the passengers are clean. I've blown compressed air, some more cleaner through it, and everything should work now. Can't see any reason why it wouldn't. Alright, so I took the carbs back off, readjusted the flow tides. Turns out the way I was doing it with the carbs on their back is not really the best way to do it. Not for these carbs anyway. So I did them on their side this time, taking very care to apply very light pressure to the spring and then adjust it. And I was maybe a couple of mils out on all of them. So carb number 1, that was always dry before, now has some fuel as soon as I open the little tab. That's good. And let's see what she says. Bit of throttle. So it's a bit rough, needs some adjusting, and it doesn't seem to hold an idle, but we'll fix that. It's a good start, we're going in the right direction. Alright, so it's a few days later. I've struggled to find time for this, and apologies for the noise. The extractor fan is still running, so that's on the exhaust of the bike. So adjusting the float levels, that seemed to make it run. The balance was like way off. Sam, when he put these back together, he just found the screws all the way in, so it was pretty bad, which made it a bit difficult to try and find where the issue is, but it's all good now. We've got the balancing gauge or the vacuum gauge on there, and yeah, I've already balanced it. The engine's up, well, probably not quite up to temperature, but it's warmed up. I've balanced them once, they're pretty good. We're going to start up again and just double check everything, but we should be good to go. If this all works alright, we're going to start putting the air filter back together and fuel tank and everything, and it's good to go. It needs a few bits tidying up, which I probably won't film, and it's ready for an MOT. So let's hear it run. It actually sounds pretty good. It's already on. So yeah, still needs a bit of adjustment, but overall it's pretty good. Alright, so we're nearly done. Got the airbox on, almost. I still need to find the bolts for the top cover, but they should be around here somewhere. And that's it. Put the fuel tank back on, bike is running, time to give it back to Sam. There might be a few small jobs I'm going to do before we take it for an MOT, but I'm going to do those off camera. And that's it. I apologize, this video was a bit shorter than usual, and I haven't filmed all the details, but I'm a bit short for time, so I'm trying to change the format a little bit. So yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.